Kaji stands in front of the Keel leader Notori. Notori says he is famous, and it will be fun fighting him. He says they are the same because he saw the way Kaji hit Sakura earlier, thinking Kaji uses fear to control people just as he punishes his own men. Notori says people only listen when they are afraid and asks why Kaji pretends to be a hero. He invites Kaji to join Keel if he loses. Kaji says he will not hear anything bad about Furan. We then learn the leader's name is Notorious Shingo. Meanwhile, Sakura suddenly becomes extremely dangerous, defeating all Keel members easily. Kongo becomes scared, thinking Sakura was not like this until now and wonders how he suddenly became a monster like Kaji. He orders all Keel members to attack Sakura, but Sakura defeats all of them with ease and then punches Kongo very hard, sending him flying. Sakura looks at all members and says, "Let's finish all this." On the other battlefield, Taiga gets hit by his opponent Kirishima, but he refuses to go down. He says this is his ritual. First he gets hit, then he teaches a lesson. Kirishima tells him their seniors saved them earlier because Taiga is weak, but Taiga smiles, saying smiling is aesthetic because he is an entertainer. Taiga then lands a devastating punch, knocking Kirishima down and telling him to get back up for the final round. Kirishima grabs a stick and swings at him, but Taiga blocks easily. Taiga says he still has enough strength to fight many rounds, and then he finishes Kirishima off with a strong attack. Elsewhere, Sudashita fights his opponent, who tells him they are always disappointed and that's why they are weak. The opponent attacks with a bat, Sudashita dodges, but then gets kicked strongly in the stomach. Meanwhile, Tiga hits his opponent with a strong punch, making him fall, and tells him it's time to start the final round. Both Tiga and Sudashita then knock out their opponents. At the same time, Kira faces Kondo next. Kondo mocks Kira for being a femboy, but Kira says he sees nothing wrong with that. Kondo says the weak must obey the strong and steps on Kira's foot before punching him. Kira says he probably isn't popular with girls because he has a terrible personality and says he wouldn't date him even if he were a girl. Kira tells Kondo he must be weak because he takes orders from Notori, while Kondo says he is lending his strength because he's one of the strongest in their group. Kira mocks him, saying he is like a frog in a well because everyone in his group is weak, and he must be living in a small world. Kondo gets angry and attacks, but Kira hits his shoulder, and he collapses. Mitsuri says, "You were calling me weak, but now who is weak? If you had become a slightly good person, you would have been popular among girls." The rest of the foreign members continue fighting the Keel gang. We see more first years struggling with fear as they get beaten up. Kasumi arrives just in time to save one of the frightened guys, and the other first years start praising their seniors for helping them. Suddenly, one of the Keel members tries to attack from behind, but Sakura appears and finishes him instantly. Sakura looks sad afterward, and all the foreign members gather together. Sakura apologizes to them, saying that next time he will focus on his own battle so he can finish things quickly and prevent trouble for everyone. Meanwhile, Takashi and Yudo continue fighting strongly, and their juniors admire them for being only two people who managed to turn the tide of the battle. Kira defeats a Keel member and is joined by his friends, who say they have already beaten their opponents. He tells them to go take out the rest and that he will be with them next time. After defeating another enemy, he sees Ton getting beaten up. Suwa approaches Ton, staring coldly at him. Ton wonders why Suwa is looking at him like that, and Suwa knocks him out, preparing to strike again, but Sakura stops him. At the same time, Kaji continues fighting Shingo as Shingo unleashes a relentless barrage of attacks, all of which Kaji narrowly but skillfully dodges. Using a swift backflip, Kaji counters with a strike, yet it barely phases Shingo. Grinning, Shingo traps Kaji to one side with a rope and attacks again, but Kaji slips away once more. Shingo then tells him that if he joins his team, they would have a lot of fun together, insisting that he knows Kaji is a monster who still hasn't shown his true power. Kaji admits Shingo is right and says he was never a hero, recalling how in the past he would completely lose control during fights and only come to his senses after realizing how badly he had beaten those around him. He explains that meeting different people changed him and taught him restraint, and while Shingo talks about captains who demand loyalty and respect, Shingo himself is no human but a monster. Declaring that he will now carve fear into him, Kaji faces Shingo's renewed assault, calmly dodging each attack before leaping into the air, grabbing a hanging chain, and swinging forward to deliver a powerful kick. Enraged, Shingo strikes back, knocking Kaji to the ground and calling him weak as he repeatedly beats him with his bat. Just as Shingo raises it for another crushing blow, Kaji twists away and slams a devastating kick into Shingo's stomach, sending him crashing backward. Kaji's anger surges, and Shingo smiles in satisfaction, saying this is exactly what he wanted to see, Kaji's real form. The two charge at each other and exchange furious punches, Shingo mocking that he enjoys controlling wild animals, until Kaji's overwhelming strength shatters Shingo's bat and turns the tide completely. Still laughing, Shingo is finally sent flying by a crushing punch and collapses unconscious on the ground. Kaji raises his fist to strike again but stops himself, realizing the battle has already gone on too long and that Shingo is finished. Soon after, Kasumi and Inamoto arrive to see all the Keel members defeated and raise Kaji's hand in victory as the crowd erupts in celebration over Furin's win, though Sakura watches silently with an uneasy expression, while elsewhere Anze slowly opens his eyes, confused and struggling to understand what had happened. After regaining his senses, Anze learns that the battle is over and that they have won. He lifts his eyes and is surprised to see the second-year students standing there, wondering why they are present. Inamoto explains that they all came to help. The group then brings Nagato forward and urges him to say what he wanted to say. Nagato faces Anze and tells him he never should have done all this, saying he had warned him not to get involved and that Anze didn't need to come or risk himself for him. Sakura steps in sharply, telling Nagato not to think he is special and making it clear that Furin didn't come because of his request. He explains that they found a girl crying desperately, begging them to save Anze, and that was the real reason they moved. Sakura then admits that he himself fought because Notori angered him, while Anze was beaten badly trying to protect Nagato, yet Nagato can't even bring himself to look at him. Sakura asks if Nagato truly didn't want to be saved, and Nagato responds that he was a terrible friend and doesn't deserve to be saved at all. At that moment, Kaji speaks up and tells Nagato that it doesn't matter what he thinks or deserves, Anze chose to save him anyway.